So we're doing these creative testimonies, and I knew I was going to do a video for mine, but I was having a lot of trouble figuring out how to start it off. And I finally decided the best thing to do would be to tell a story from when I worked at Tumbleweed. Now, I did adapt it a little, but it's still probably 95% true. And here's your warning ahead of time. It involves the men's restroom and a whole lot of vomit. There's 3 major pieces to this men's restroom: a sink, a toilet, and a urinal. Ladies, if you don't know what a urinal is, that's okay. You're not really allowed to use one. Now, at the time of this story, it's a full house in the men's restroom. There's a guy in a suit at the urinal going number 1. There's a guy in the stall going, well, the other number. And then there's a manager at the sink washing his hands. Now brace yourselves. Here's where things start getting messy. Some old guy comes running into the bathroom with his hands over his mouth, and he beelines for the toilet, but it's locked. He starts looking for a place to throw up, but at the same time, he loses control. He starts puking on the ground in a semicircle looking for a place to throw up. Now the manager starts backing up from this in terror, but the business guy is trapped. He starts high-stepping so he can keep the puke off his pants and finish his business at the same time. Now the old man looks up where the manager was standing and he sees his opening. He starts running across the bathroom, puking the entire way. He pushes the manager aside and throws up in the sink. Now I wish the story stopped there, but it doesn't. So the manager composes himself and goes out of the bathroom to find somebody to clean it up, and the old man comes stumbling out behind him. Business suit guy manages to get out of there without any particles on his pants. But poor number 2. He's been trying to mind his own business, but he knows something big went down out there. So he finishes up what he's doing and opens the door, and he sets foot in a modern art masterpiece. And he's so overcome with emotion that he decides he's gonna throw up in the semicircle. Guess what? We're still not done. So manager looks around the store for a little bit, and then he finds an underling that he deems worthy for the task. So he tells the busboy that there's a slight problem in the men's room and it'd be nice if he could grab some gloves and clean it up, and busboy's all too happy to help. So he sets off at the bathroom expecting a few paper towels on the floor and maybe an unflushed toilet. But when he gets into that bathroom, he's not really prepared for the horror that waits in there. And, well, he threw up too. It's a pretty gross story. And personally, I think it's pretty hilarious. And believe it or not, I think it's a pretty good example of what my life was like before Christ. So here's the part where I take that story and turn it into an analogy. When I was born into this world, I inherited a great big mess. We all do. I mean, some people get it way worse. Some people don't get it nearly as bad. But we all get some kind of mess that needs cleaned up. Now me, when I realized what kind of mess I was going to have to deal with, I didn't start cleaning it up. I started making it worse. I made my mess bigger. I made it smellier. I made it dirtier. And I just didn't fix anything. Now sometimes I think, maybe I'll get around to cleaning this up sometime. I'll get a mop and bucket and start working on this, but I was never going to clean that stuff up. I was not capable of cleaning up that mess. Over the course of my life, I figured out that only Jesus Christ has the power to clean up that kind of mess, to clean up the mess we were born into, and to clean up the mess we started making ourselves. So my senior year of high school, I decided to get baptized by an NSYNC reject and turn my life over to Christ. You thought I was joking, didn't you? Now, ever since I made that decision, Christ has been cleaning me up, just a little bit at a time. But I gotta tell you, I'm not perfect. I've made more messes since then, and I've found more messes that need to be dealt with. Sometimes I'm still dealing with a room full of puke. But the biggest difference between then and now is that I know I'm not capable of cleaning up a mess, whether I made it or it was there before. I know who the real cleaner is now. I know who can actually get the job done. He's strong. He wears white. And he's got his own theme song.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute. Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean,